May wants to know where the tiger is.
Yep, we'll write that one down. Willie Mae asks them to take her to the show her the tiger, right? Reminder, you write this down. We are going to look at the end, and you get 5 points just for taking the notes and showing me you took the notes. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Not 5 minutes, sorry. 2 minutes to get that written down, and then we're going to move on and read the next chapter. So 2 minutes to finish writing that down and get ready for the next chapter. All right, we are on chapter 25, if you are following along in your book. That starts on page 94, chapter 25. The three of them walked through the woods in silence. Sistine and Rob chewed 8-ball gum, and Willie Mae smoked a cigarette, and nobody said a word. Lord God, said Willie Mae when they came up to the cage. She stared at the pacing animal. Ain't no reason to doubt the fierceness of God when he makes something like that, she said. Who was the fool that caged this tiger up? He belongs to Beauchamp, Rob told her. Beauchamp, said Willie Mae in disgust. She shook her head. One person in the world that don't need to be owning no tiger, and that's Beauchamp. See, said Sistine, it's not right, is it? Just like you told Rob about your bird and how you had to let it go. A bird, said Willie Mae. That's one thing. Tiger belonging to Beauchamp is another. Tell Rob that he should unlock the cage and let him go, Sistine demanded. I ain't, said Willie Mae. You got to ask yourself, what's going to happen to this tiger after you let him go? How's he going to live? Rob was flooded with sad relief. Willie Mae wasn't going to make him do it. He wasn't going to lose the tiger. Panthers live in these woods, argued Sistine. They survive. Used to, said Willie Mae. They don't know more. Sistine put her hands on her hips. You're not saying that you believe, she accused. You're not talking like a prophetess. That's because I ain't no prophetess, said Willie Mae. All I am is somebody speaking the truth, and the truth is there ain't nothing you can do for this tiger except to let it be. It's not right, said Sistine. Right ain't got nothing to do with it, muttered Willie Mae. Sometimes right don't count. I can't wait until my father comes to get me, said Sistine. He knows what's right. He'll set this tiger free. Rob looked at Sistine. Your daddy ain't coming for you, he said softly, shaking his head, amazed that he suddenly knew what he suddenly knew to be the truth. My father is coming to get me, Sistine said through her tight lips. Nah, said Rob sadly. He ain't. He's a liar, like your mama said. You're the liar, said Sistine in a dark, cold voice. Her face was so white that it seemed to glow before him. And I hate you, she said to him. Everybody at school hates you too, even the teachers. You're a sissy. I hope I never ever see you again. She turned and walked away, and Rob stood and considered her words. He felt them on his skin like shards of broken glass. He was afraid to move. He was afraid of how deep they might go inside him. She don't mean it, said Willie Mae. She don't mean none of what she say right now. Rob shrugged. He bent and scratched his legs as hard as he could. He scratched and scratched, digging his nails in deep, trying to get to the bottom of the itch that was always there. Stop it, Willie Mae told him. Rob looked up at her. Let me tell you something, she said. I would love to see this tiger rise on up out of this cage. Yes, I would like to see him rise on up and attack Beauchamp. Serve him right for keeping a wild animal like this locked up, putting you in the middle of this, giving you the keys to this cage. Come on. She grabbed hold of Rob's hand. Let's get up on out of here. As they walked back to the Kentucky Star, Rob thought about what Willie Mae had said about the tiger rising on up. It reminded him of what she had said about his sadness needing to rise up. And when he thought about the two things together, the tiger and his sadness, the truth circled over and above him, and then came and landed lightly on his shoulder. He knew what he had to do. All right. Lots happening there. What should we write down? There's a lot going on in that chapter. Michael, what do you think?
Sistine and Rob and Willie Mae. Mike is gonna. I lost my words.
Okay. I saw Jay's hand. Jay, what do you think? And then we'll go to Guadalupe.
That Sistine says that she doesn't care about Rob anymore.
Yeah, and why does she do that? What does he say to her?
That they shouldn't let the tiger go.
Well, he does say that, but Willie Mae says that, but he says something to Sistine's dad that really makes her mad.
Oh yeah, that Sistine's dad ain't coming and he's a liar and
Yeah.
all that.
So Rob tells Sistine that her dad isn't coming to get her. And says he's a liar. Uh-oh. It just closed. Hang on. We're working on getting this. Oh, thank goodness it's still there. All right. And he says she's a liar. And then, so Sistine tells Rob she hates him, right? All right, I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to get that written down. Then we're going to move on and read one more chapter today. About 2 more minutes. So we're going to move on and read the last chapter for today. One more minute. All right, I'm going to go ahead and read chapter 26. If you're still writing, that's okay. I will leave it up. He left Willie Mae at the motel and went down to the highway. Sistine, he shouted as he ran. Sistine, he yelled. And miraculously he saw her, her orange dress with pink polka dots glowing on the horizon. Sistine Bailey. Hey, he shouted. Sistine, I got something to tell you. I'm not talking to you, she shouted back, but she stopped and turned around. She put her hands on her hips again. He ran faster. I come to tell you about the tiger, he said when he caught up with her. What about him? I'm fixing to let him go, said Rob. Sistine squinted her eyes at him. You won't do it, she said. Yes, I will, he told her. He reached out into his pocket and pulled out the keys and held them in front of her proudly, as if he had just conjured them out of thin air. And then, as if they had never existed before, I'm going to do it, he said. I'm going to do it for you. Whoo! Somebody screamed, and Rob turned and saw Beauchamp come speeding right toward him in his red Jeep. Oh, no, whispered Rob. Is it him? Sistine whispered. Rob nodded. Beauchamp pulled over to the side of the road, spraying mud and water everywhere. You out getting your exercise? He hollered, and Rob shrugged. Speak up, roared Beauchamp. He got out of the Jeep and came toward them. Rob quickly pocketed the keys, and his heart thumped once, loudly, as if it was cautioning him to keep quiet. And then it went back to beating normally. Well, looky here, said Beauchamp when he saw Sistine. You out chasing girls, is that it? Man after my own heart. Is that your girlfriend? Beauchamp pounded Rob on the back. No, sir, said Rob. He looked at Sistine, and she was staring hard at Beauchamp, staring so hard at Beauchamp that Rob was afraid the man might burst into flames. I got more good for you, Beauchamp said. I left him back in the motel with Ida Bell. Sorry, where'd that go? I lost my spot. What's your name, little thing? Beauchamp said, turning to Sistine. Rob's heart gave another warning thump. Lord only knew what Sistine would say to Beauchamp, but Sistine, as always, surprised him. She smiled sweetly at Beauchamp. Sissy, she said. Well, that's pretty, said Beauchamp. That's the kind of name worth running down the road after. He leaned over to Rob. Remember what we got going. You're keeping your manly secrets, ain't you? Yes, sir, said Rob. Beauchamp winked and his toothpick wiggled. I got me some businesses in town, he said. He squeezed Rob's shoulder hard and then took his hand away. You and your girlfriend stay out of trouble now, you hear? Yes, sir, said Rob. Beauchamp swaggered back to the Jeep, and Rob and Sistine stood together and watched him get in and roar down the highway. He's afraid, said Sistine. He's afraid of that tiger. That's why he's making you feed him. Rob gave her a nod. That was another truth he had known without knowing it. The same as he had known about Sistine's father was not coming back. He must, he realized, know somewhere deep inside more things than he had ever actually dreamed of. I'm sorry, he said, what I said about your daddy. I'm sorry. I don't want to talk about my father, said Sistine. Maybe he is going to come get you. He's not coming to get me, Sistine tossed her head. And I don't care. It doesn't matter. What matters is the tiger. Let's go. Let's go set him free. All right, end of chapter 26. That was it. What should we write down? One more thing. Guadalupe.
They were going to set the tiger free.
Yep. Rob decides to let the tiger free. I'm giving you 1 minute to write that down, and then we're going to move on because we're going to do one practice question and then talk about your assignment before small group reading.
Mr. Hoffman, I lost my paper, so I'm going to write this down all again.
Okay. You might have to catch up later. Give you guys about 45 more seconds. All right, I will come back to this at the end, but I'm going to move forward really quickly. All right, I'm going to move forward. So we have this question. It's an example question to practice together before you go off and do your own questions. It says, Robin Sistine first told Willie Mae about the tiger. What was her reaction and how do you know? So I'm going to go back and find in that section on page, it says, she says, what? Said, it's a tiger, Rob said. He felt like he had to be the one who said it. A what? Said Willie Mae. A tiger, said Sistine. Do Jesus, exclaimed Willie Mae. It's true. Willie Mae shook her head. She got this tiger locked up. So it says, Robin Sistine first told Willie Mae about the tiger. What was her reaction? How do you know? So Willie Mae, I'm going to say Willie Mae was shocked to hear they had a tiger. I know this because on page 93, she says, what? And do Jesus when she hears they have a tiger, or when she finds out. Right? So notice when I answered that question, I said how she felt, and then I talked about why I knew that or what she said that helps me know. Okay? So your job today is going to be 2 questions on Canvas. They are, what does Sistine always say when she gets sad, frustrated, or doesn't get her way? All right? What does she say when she gets sad, frustrated, or doesn't get her way? And then what is the truth that Rob and Sistine learn about Beauchamp and the tiger? All right? So what does Sistine always say when she gets sad, frustrated, or doesn't get her way? What is the truth that Rob and Sistine learn about Beauchamp and the tiger? And I'll give you a clue with the truth. It's that part we read about at the end where it said Rob knew the truth about this, just like he knew the truth about Sistine's father not coming back. So we just mentioned it, right? About how she said to Rob, Beauchamp won't hire you to feed it because why? That's that truth, all right? Second groups will be on time. If you have, everybody listen, if you are in Miss Weibel's group normally, she is not here today, okay? So you will not meet. However, you will read whatever chapter you were going to read with her today. So if you are in her first group and you were going to read chapter, I don't know what chapter you guys are on, chapter 8, you need to read chapter 8 today and be ready for chapter 9 tomorrow. If you are in her second group and you're on chapter 10, you need to read chapter 10 today, 9, or whatever chapter you're on, okay? And be ready for the next chapter tomorrow. And you should take notes. I'm going to let her know you're supposed to read and take notes that next chapter. Everybody else, I'm going to go back to these notes from today. You have until 9:15, so 6 minutes, to finish taking those notes. When you are done, you can hold your notebook up to me and show me you have them when you finish, and I'll say, hey, that's good, and you can go get started on the assignment, and I will give you the points. If you are in my first group, just stay on here, okay? Jay, you are good. You got your points. Thank you. You may go. Ania, you got your